5 life-threatening weather events are unfolding across America right now, and what we thought would happen just 12 hours ago has completely changed. If you're anywhere east of the Rockies, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, if you're planning to drive anywhere in the next 48 hours, what I'm about to tell you could save your life. Here's what's happening at this exact moment. The atmosphere is in chaos mode. We're tracking a sneaky snow system that's already making roads in Virginia completely impassable. We've got a powerhouse clipper about to slam the Midwest with 8 inches of snow and 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's a historic atmospheric river dumping 8 inches of rain on the Pacific Northwest. Another Arctic blast is loading up with wind chills hitting -50 degrees, and there's a geomagnetic storm from the sun that could knock out communications. All of it, happening in the next 48 hours. And here's the number that should terrify you. 40 degrees below average. That's how cold it's going to get in parts of the Northeast tomorrow. Not wind chill, actual temperature departure. We're talking about temperatures that can cause frostbite in 5 to 10 minutes. But in 30 seconds, I'm going to reveal the one invisible danger that's causing more accidents right now than the snow itself. It's already happening in Virginia, and it's about to spread to a dozen more states. Most people don't even know what to look for until it's too late. Let's start with what's happening right now in Virginia and North Carolina. Because this is the sneaky setup that weather forecasters hate. The kind that looks innocent on radar but turns deadly on the roads. Light snow is falling across Virginia at this moment. Seems harmless, right? 1 to 4 inches expected in the Blue Ridge. Maybe 4 inches near Richmond. Most of North Carolina seeing less than 2 inches. Drive carefully, maybe leave a little early. Standard winter weather advice. Wrong. Dead wrong. Here's what they're not telling you. Between 1 and 2 p.m. today, intermittent heavy snow is going to explode from Greensboro and Winston-Salem all the way up to Virginia Beach. That's the rain-snow line. And just north of that line between Roanoke, Lynchburg, and Richmond, it's going to be all snow. Pure, heavy, wet snow. But the snow itself isn't the killer. At 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I'm going to show you the exact timeline of when this turns from a snow event into a life-threatening ice trap. And I'm going to tell you which highways are about to become skating rinks. By midnight tonight, the snow will be gone. Maybe some leftover flurries hitting as far south as New Bern, North Carolina. By 1 or 2 a.m., it'll be completely out of your hair. Storm over, right? Time to relax? That's when people die. Because here's what happens next. A massive cold front is racing through behind this system. That's why we had snow in the first place. And when that front arrives, everything that melted, everything that got wet, every slush puddle, every damp spot on the pavement, it all freezes. Instantly. We're talking temperatures dropping into the teens and 20s tonight. And tomorrow morning, every single road in Virginia is going to be a sheet of ice. Even if you only got a dusting of snow, even if you only saw rain. It doesn't matter. The flash freeze is coming. Bridges and overpasses along I-95 and I-64 are going to be death traps. Any wet-looking road tomorrow morning, treat it as ice-covered. Because it is. You just can't see it. This is black ice, the invisible killer, and it's about to cover hundreds of miles of highway. Near Richmond, some spots are going to get close to 5 inches of snow. Up in the higher elevations of West Virginia, we could see over 8 inches. But listen to me very carefully. The amount of snow doesn't matter. What matters is what happens after the snow stops. Here's your action plan for tonight. If you're in Virginia or North Carolina, do not drive tomorrow morning unless absolutely necessary. If you must drive, leave at least 30 minutes early. Drive half your normal speed. Don't use cruise control, ever, on any road, because when you hit that black ice, and you will hit it, you need complete control of your vehicle. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. This exact same scenario is about to play out in the Midwest. But it's going to be 10 times worse. Right now, there's another massive band of heavy snow on radar, completely separate from the mid-Atlantic storm. This is a powerhouse Alberta clipper, and it's about to absolutely hammer Minnesota, North Dakota, northern Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. 6 to 8 inches of snow. That's the forecast. But here's what the forecast doesn't capture. This clipper is moving fast. Incredibly fast. It's going to dump that 6 to 8 inches in just a few hours. Not over a day. Not overnight. In hours. Minneapolis, you're going to get hit today into tonight. A heavy burst of snow is already forming. By tomorrow morning, it moves into Wisconsin. At exactly 4 a.m., it's going to slam the UP of Michigan with maximum intensity, and by 8 p.m. tomorrow, Green Bay, Houghton, Duluth, International Falls, you're going to be buried in heavy snow. Quick hitter, fast moving, gone before you know it, but the damage will be done. Here's the part that should keep you up tonight. This clipper is bringing warm air with it. Some of that snow is going to melt. Roads are going to get wet. And then, just like Virginia, just like North Carolina, the Arctic blast arrives behind it, and everything freezes. Flash freeze. Again, but this one could be quite significant. More significant than Virginia, because the temperature drop is going to be more severe. We're not talking about dropping into the 20s. We're talking about temperatures plummeting into dangerous, life-threatening cold. During the main heat of this storm, we're looking at near-zero visibility in North Dakota and western Minnesota. Blizzard conditions. Winds blowing up to 60 miles per hour. 60. That's hurricane-force wind. With snow, you cannot see. You cannot drive. You cannot survive outside. And here's another wrinkle. The Twin Cities. Minneapolis and St. Paul. There's a very sharp cutoff on this storm. You're going to see rain and mixed precipitation mixing in. Not pure snow. Rain, ice, sleet, snow, all at once. That creates a nightmare for travel, because you've got multiple types of precipitation, all falling at once, all freezing at different rates, and then that cold air screaming in behind it with the flash freeze. Minneapolis. The next couple days are going to be messy. Really messy. Now, at the 5-minute mark, I promised you something. Here it is. The cities that are going to be in the absolute worst position over the next 48 hours. Number 5. Richmond, Virginia. 5 inches of snow followed by immediate flash freeze. Tomorrow morning's commute will be the worst of the winter so far. Number 4. Duluth, Minnesota. 8 inches of snow, 60-mile-per-hour winds, near-zero visibility, and then the coldest temperatures of the season. Number 3. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Heavy snow tomorrow evening, flash freeze overnight, and you're right in the path of that Arctic blast this weekend. Number 2. The Twin Cities. Mixed precipitation today and tomorrow, flash freeze guaranteed. And a brutal temperature drop that's going to catch people off guard. And number 1. The entire I-95 corridor from Richmond to Raleigh. Because this is where the flash freeze is happening first. This is where people aren't prepared, and this is where we're going to see the most accidents in the next 12 hours. But here's the location nobody's talking about, the place that could see the worst conditions of all. I'll reveal that at minute 12. But first, we need to talk about what's happening on the complete opposite side of the country. Because while the East Coast is dealing with snow and ice, the Pacific Northwest is facing something potentially catastrophic. A historic atmospheric river. And I mean historic. We get atmospheric rivers in the Pacific Northwest all the time. It's a normal part of winter weather out there. But this one is different. This one is the real deal. Western Washington, Oregon, and the Idaho Panhandle, specifically the Clear Water Basin, you're about to get hammered with 4 to 8 inches of rain in just a few days. That's not spread out over a week. That's happening in waves through Thursday with no significant break to let the water drain away. From right now through Thursday, it's going to be a deluge. Washington, Idaho, even western portions of Montana. Non-stop rain, heavy rain, historic rainfall rates. Here's what that means in real terms. Rapid river rises, rock slides and mudslides in steep terrain, urban flooding in low-lying areas. This is a high-impact, high-danger system. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of excessive rainfall for Day 1, Day 2, and Day 3. Even on Day 4, there's still a marginal risk between Seattle and Portland. And when you look at the rainfall totals over the next 3 days, we're potentially seeing well over 4 to 6 inches in a very tight, compact area. 4 to 6 inches of rain in 3 days would be concerning anywhere. But in terrain like this, with rivers and steep slopes and burn scars from recent wildfires, this is a recipe for disaster. And here's the factor that makes this even worse. This is a warm storm, not a cold storm. Warm. That means snow melt at higher elevations. You're getting historic rainfall plus snow melt. The rivers can rise faster than you expect. Faster than emergency managers can respond. Faster than you can evacuate. If you live near a river in Washington, Oregon, or Idaho, you need to have an emergency bag packed, right now, not tomorrow. now, because these rivers can go from normal to flooding in hours when snowmelt is involved. Really strong winds are coming too. We're talking about widespread wind damage on top of the flooding. Power outages are likely, trees coming down. And with all that rain, the ground is going to be saturated. Mudslides are a serious threat. If you live near a burned scar, those areas where wildfires have destroyed vegetation, you're in extreme danger. The ground can't hold water anymore. When this rain hits, entire hillsides can let go. And they do it without warning. So here's your emergency checklist for the Pacific Northwest. 1. Have 3 days of food and water ready. 2. Charge all devices and have backup batteries. 3. Know your evacuation route if you live near water or on a slope. 4. Have that emergency bag by the door. 5. Do not drive through flooded roads, ever. Turn around, don't drown. Now, let's circle back to that Arctic blast, because this is where the forecast has changed dramatically in the last 12 hours. And understanding these changes could mean the difference between preparation and catastrophe. The current shot of cold air is substantial. It's already causing problems for millions of people east of the Rockies. And that cold air is really going to maximize tomorrow in the mid-Atlantic and up into the Northeast. We're talking potentially close to 40 degrees below average in some parts of the interior Northeast. 40 degrees below average. Let that sink in. If the average high for this time of year is 35 degrees, you're looking at actual temperatures around -5, before wind chill. But then we get a brief break. Wednesday, some warm air is going to try to invect over the plains. Kansas and Iowa might actually have a decent warm day. Enjoy it, because it's the last warm day you're going to see for a while. The next big punch of polar air is loading up right now. You can see it on the models. Friday, it starts showing its face in Montana and North Dakota, cold temperatures pushing down. And then Saturday, it unleashes into Minnesota and Wisconsin. This is the same big cold blast we talked about in previous forecasts, and it's still going quite far south. But here's the change. Here's what's different. It's looking a little less amped than it was a few days ago, a little less significant. Now, don't misunderstand me. This is still a shoo-in. This is still definitely going to happen. We're still going to have a massive blast of cold air come down. But it's mostly going to be a problem for the Great Lakes and the northern plains. It doesn't look like it's going to spread as far south as what we originally thought. If that changes, you'll be the first to know. But right now, the worst of this cold is going to be concentrated in the north. And when I say worst, I mean worst. We're talking 40 degrees below average temperatures in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. What does that actually mean? Let me paint you the picture. -30 to -50 degree wind chills, -10 to -20 degree actual temperatures. This is life-threatening cold, the kind of cold where frostbite can set in within 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. That's how long you have if you're outside with exposed skin. This is the coldest temperature of the season. Again. And this amount of cold is probably going to trigger extreme cold warnings and advisories. You need to prepare your homes now. Winterize everything. Pipes, heating systems, vehicles. Check on your pets. Bring them inside. This is not the kind of cold you can ignore. And here's the timeline you need to know. That brief warm-up on Wednesday doesn't last. Thursday starts to get cold again. Friday, the cold really sets in. And by Saturday and Sunday, we're at peak Arctic blast conditions. But let me tell you about the extended outlook, because this cold isn't just a weekend event. 6 days from now through 10 days from now, we're still going to be dealing with colder than average conditions east of the Rockies, specifically in the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and over towards the Northeast. That cold that compiles over the next couple days through the weekend up in the northern plains, it's going to propagate down into the interior Northeast. It won't be quite as cold as the Great Lakes, but it will continue to be very cold in the mid-Atlantic, up through New England for the next 10 days. 10 days of below-average temperatures. That's your heating bill skyrocketing. That's your vehicle struggling to start every morning. That's checking on elderly neighbors every single day. Meanwhile, out west, we're going to continue to see a big ridge build over the southwest. Warmer than average temperatures from Los Angeles all the way up to Boise and Denver. The country is literally split in half temperature-wise. Now here's that location I promised you at minute 12. The place nobody's talking about that could see the absolute worst conditions. It's not Richmond. It's not Minneapolis. It's not even Duluth. It's the string of small towns along Highway 2 in North Dakota and northern Minnesota. Why? because you're getting the worst of everything. The clipper snow, the blizzard conditions with 60-mile-per-hour winds, the flash freeze, and then the most brutal Arctic cold with wind chills hitting -50. These small towns, they don't have the infrastructure of big cities. They don't have armies of snowplows. When you lose power out there in -50-degree wind chills, it becomes a survival situation real fast, and help might not be able to get to you for hours or even days. If you live in rural areas of the northern plains, you need to be completely self-sufficient for the next 72 hours minimum. Food, water, heat, medicine, everything. Because if something goes wrong, you're on your own. Let's talk about something most people don't consider: the cumulative effect of multiple weather events. It's not just about the individual storms, it's about how they stack up. Virginia gets hit with snow and flash freeze today and tomorrow. By the time they recover, another system could be moving in later this week. The Midwest gets the clipper, then the Arctic blast, then potentially more snow next week. The Pacific Northwest gets pounded with rain for 4 straight days with no break. Your emergency response systems get stretched thin. Salt supplies run low. Snowplow drivers get exhausted. Power crews are already out fixing lines when the next storm hits. Hospital emergency rooms fill up with slip and fall injuries, with frostbite cases, with carbon monoxide poisoning from improper generator use. This is why you need to be prepared. Because when multiple events stack up like this, the normal support systems we rely on start to break down. Now let's address the space weather, because on top of everything else happening on Earth, the sun decided to join the party. A coronal mass ejection of plasma and energy left the sun on December 6th. It's directed straight at Earth. And it's about to arrive. We're under a G3 geomagnetic storm watch for tomorrow, December 9th. Now, most of the models show that Earth is going to get missed by the strongest part of this. Most of that plasma density is going to pass south of us, and there's not a terrible amount of solar wind associated with it. But here's the thing about space weather. Models can be wrong. If those models are wrong and we actually get hit by the strongest part of that plasma density, this could end up being a G4 storm, maybe even higher. What does that mean for you? Best case scenario, people way up north in Maine, Washington, and Canada might see the aurora if skies are clear, and it happens at night. Worst case, we're looking at minor impacts to infrastructure, some Wi-Fi issues, ham radio disruptions, GPS anomalies, maybe some power grid fluctuations. Right now, the forecast is for minor impacts. But keep in mind, when you combine a geomagnetic storm with extreme cold weather that's already stressing the power grid, with ice storms taking down power lines, with emergency systems already stretched thin, even minor impacts can become major problems. So what's the bottom line? What do you actually need to do right now? If you're in Virginia or North Carolina, stay off the roads tomorrow morning unless absolutely necessary. The flash freeze is real and it's dangerous. Black ice will be everywhere. Treat every wet-looking surface as ice. If you're in the Midwest, particularly Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas, the next 72 hours are critical. Prepare for heavy snow, blizzard conditions, and life-threatening cold. Stock up today. Don't wait until tomorrow. By tomorrow, it might be too late. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, near rivers or burn scars, have your evacuation plan ready. This atmospheric river is not typical. This is historic. Rivers are going to rise fast. Mudslides are going to happen. Be ready to leave on short notice. And for everyone east of the Rockies, winterize everything now. Pipes, vehicles, heating systems. Check on elderly neighbors and relatives. Make sure everyone has heat, food, and medicine. Because this cold snap is going to last more than a few days. Let me give you some specific numbers for winter vehicle prep. Your car battery loses about 60% of its strength when temperatures drop to 0 degrees. If your battery is more than 3 years old and we're looking at -20-degree temperatures, there's a good chance your car won't start. Get your battery tested now. Make sure your antifreeze is rated for -35 degrees or lower. Keep your gas tank at least half full at all times. Gasoline can freeze. Well, not freeze exactly, but the water vapor in your tank can freeze and block your fuel line. Keep an emergency kit in your car. Blankets, water, snacks, a phone charger, a flashlight, a small shovel. Because if you get stuck, if you slide off the road, if your car dies, you need to be able to survive until help arrives. And in weather like this, help might take a while. For your home, let your faucets drip when temperatures drop below freezing. Moving water is less likely to freeze. Open cabinet doors under sinks to let warm air circulate around pipes. Know where your main water shutoff valve is. Because if a pipe does burst, you need to shut off the water immediately, or you'll have a flooded house and a frozen mess. Keep your thermostat at the same temperature day and night. It's tempting to turn it down at night to save money, but temperature fluctuations can cause pipes to freeze and burst. 68 degrees minimum, all the time, until this cold snap is over. Now, here's something that happened in Virginia that's about to happen in the Midwest. In fact, it might be happening right now as you're watching this. It's the moment when weather goes from inconvenient to dangerous. Right now, people in Virginia are looking out their windows at snow, maybe an inch or two on the ground, maybe it's still falling, and they're thinking, this isn't so bad. I can handle this. I've driven in snow before. But they're not seeing what's about to happen. They're not seeing that cold front racing toward them. They're not thinking about what happens when all this snow and slush turns to ice in a few hours. They're not prepared for tomorrow morning when they walk out to their car and find every surface coated in a thin layer of invisible ice. That's the moment of danger, the moment when confidence meets reality. And in the Midwest, that moment is coming tomorrow morning. After the clipper passes through, after the roads get wet, after that Arctic air arrives. The difference between Virginia and the Midwest is scale. Virginia's flash freeze is going to be bad, but the Midwest flash freeze is going to be bad plus brutal cold. -10, -20 degree temperatures, wind chills down to -50. That changes everything. If your car won't start tomorrow morning in Minneapolis because your battery died, you can't just stand outside waiting for AAA and -20 degree temperatures. You'll get frostbite. If you slide off the road in rural North Dakota in blizzard conditions, you can't just walk to get help. You'll freeze to death. This is why preparation matters. This is why I'm spending 30 minutes walking you through all of this. Because weather like this kills people. Not a lot of people, but enough. And almost always, it's people who weren't prepared. People who thought they could handle it. People who got caught by surprise. Let me tell you about the 3 types of winter weather deaths. Type 1 is direct exposure. People who get stranded, who try to walk for help, who underestimate how cold it really is. 5 to 10 minute frostbite time means you don't have long. Type 2 is indirect exposure. This is carbon monoxide poisoning from running generators indoors or sitting in a running car in a closed garage. It's house fires from space heaters placed too close to furniture. It's heart attacks from overexertion while shoveling snow. Type 3 is accidents. This is what happens on those flash freeze mornings. Cars sliding on black ice, multi-vehicle pileups. Someone hits their brakes on what looks like a wet road and suddenly they're spinning into oncoming traffic. All 3 types are preventable. All 3 require preparation and awareness. Here's what you need to know about surviving extreme cold. Layer your clothing. Multiple thin layers trap air and insulate better than one thick layer. Cover all exposed skin. That means face mask, gloves, hat. Wind chill of -50 can cause frostbite in under 5 minutes on any exposed skin. If you start to feel numbness or tingling, get inside immediately. Frostbite starts as numbness, progresses to white or grayish skin, and eventually to hard, frozen tissue. Once tissue freezes solid, the damage is permanent. Hypothermia starts with shivering. That's your body trying to generate heat. If the shivering stops but you're still cold, that's a medical emergency. That means your core temperature has dropped dangerously low and your body is shutting down. You need medical help immediately. Signs of hypothermia include confusion, slurred speech, drowsiness, and loss of coordination. If you see these signs in yourself or someone else, call 911 and get to a warm place. Remove any wet clothing and wrap in blankets. Do not use direct heat like a heating pad. Warm the person gradually. Now, let's talk about the one scenario that ties all of this together. The scenario that could turn this from a very active weather week into an absolute disaster. What if the power goes out? Think about it. You're in Minnesota. The clipper dumps 8 inches of snow. Heavy, wet snow that weighs down power lines. Then those 60-mile-per-hour winds hit. Branches break. Lines come down. Power goes out. Now it's -20 degrees outside. Wind chill is -40. You have no heat. How long can your house stay warm without power? In cold like that, maybe 2 to 3 hours before it starts getting dangerously cold inside. Do you have a backup heat source? A fireplace? A wood stove? A generator? And if you have a generator, do you know how to use it safely? Generators produce carbon monoxide. They must be outside. at least 20 feet from any window or door. Every year, people die from carbon monoxide poisoning because they brought their generator into the garage or onto the porch. If you don't have a backup heat source and you lose power in extreme cold, you need to leave. Go to a warming center. Go to a friend or relative's house. Go to a hotel. Don't try to tough it out. People die that way. The Pacific Northwest faces a different power outage scenario. High winds, saturated ground, trees coming down, power outages are very likely. But at least it's not negative 20 degrees. Still, days without power means no heat, no lights, food in your refrigerator spoiling. Have a plan. Know where your flashlights are, have batteries, have a way to cook food that doesn't require electricity, camp stove, gas grill, and never ever use a charcoal grill indoors. Carbon monoxide again. Let's talk about the one thing nobody wants to think about but everyone needs to plan for. What if you're on the road when conditions deteriorate? What if you're halfway to work when the flash freeze hits? What if you're driving through North Dakota when the blizzard strikes? First rule: if conditions are bad, pull over. Find a gas station, a restaurant, a hotel. Wait it out. I know you have places to be. I know you're already running late. I don't care. Your life is more important than making it to work on time. Second rule: if you can't pull over safely, if you're on a highway with no exits nearby, slow down dramatically. Hazard lights on. Extreme caution. Both hands on the wheel. No distractions. Third rule: if you get stuck, stay with your car. Do not try to walk for help unless you can see a building nearby. And I mean, see it, not think you know where it is. In blizzard conditions with near-zero visibility, people walk right past buildings without seeing them. They get disoriented. They wander in circles. They freeze to death within sight of safety. If you're stuck in your car, run the engine for 10 minutes every hour to stay warm. Clear snow away from your exhaust pipe first. Carbon monoxide can back up into your car if the exhaust is blocked. Crack a window slightly for ventilation. Stay visible. Tie a bright cloth to your antenna or hang it out a window. Use your hazard lights until you need to conserve battery. Check your phone signal. Call for help. Give them your exact location. Then conserve your phone battery. Now here's the information I've been holding back. The forecast beyond this week. Because what's happening now is just the opening act. Long-range models are showing this cold pattern continuing for at least the next 10 days, possibly longer. We're not talking about a quick cold snap. We're talking about a sustained pattern shift into a colder regime. And with cold air in place, it doesn't take much to generate snow. Little disturbances, little weather systems, they can produce significant snow when the air is this cold. We could be looking at several more Alberta clippers over the next 2 weeks, each one bringing a few more inches of snow to the Midwest and Great Lakes. The East Coast and Mid-Atlantic, you're not off the hook either. That cold air is going to sag south and east, and when it does, when you get cold air over the relatively warm Atlantic Ocean, you create instability. You create the potential for coastal storms. I'm not forecasting a major nor'easter yet, it's too far out, but the pattern is favorable, the ingredients are there. And if we do get the right setup, late next week or the following weekend, we could be talking about a significant coastal snowstorm. So here's what you do. You stay prepared. You stay informed. You check forecasts twice a day. You don't let your guard down just because this week's storms pass. Because more is coming. Winter is here. And it's not leaving anytime soon. Let me recap the critical action items one more time, because in emergency situations, repetition saves lives. Virginia and North Carolina. Flash, freeze tonight into tomorrow morning. Black ice everywhere. Stay off roads tomorrow unless absolutely necessary. Drive like your life depends on it because it does. Midwest. Heavy snow from Clipper today through tomorrow. Blizzard conditions in North Dakota and western Minnesota with 60-mile-per-hour winds. Flash freeze after the snow. Life-threatening cold this weekend with wind chills to -50. Prepare now. Pacific Northwest. Historic atmospheric river through Thursday. 4 to 8 inches of rain. Rapid river rises. Mudslides likely especially near burn scars. Have evacuation plan ready. Everyone east of Rockies. Sustained cold pattern for at least 10 days. Winterize homes and vehicles. Check on vulnerable neighbors daily. Have backup heat source and emergency supplies. And one more thing. Mental preparedness. Weather events like this are stressful. Being cooped up inside when it's cold and dark, dealing with power outages, worrying about family, it takes a toll. That's normal. That's human. Stay connected with people. Call friends and family, check in on neighbors, maintain routines as much as possible, and give yourself grace. If you're feeling anxious or down, that's okay. These are challenging conditions. Now here's the teaser I promised. What's coming next? In the next forecast update, I'm going to reveal the long-range pattern setup that could bring a major coastal storm to the East Coast. The models are hinting at something big, potentially very big. I'm talking about the kind of nor'easter that shuts down I-95 from Washington to Boston. I'm also going to show you a historical comparison. The last time we saw this exact pattern setup in early December, what happened next? The answer might surprise you, and it might help you prepare for what's coming. Plus, I'll be tracking that next Arctic blast, because this one we're dealing with now, it's not the last. There's another one behind it, and another one behind that. We're in an active Arctic pattern, and I'm going to break down exactly when each pulse of cold air arrives and how cold it's going to get. And for the Pacific Northwest, I'll have updates on that atmospheric river. Is it going to intensify? Is it going to weaken? Which rivers are at highest risk of flooding? What areas need to evacuate? I'll have all those details. That's all coming in the next update. And you need to see it, because what happens this week is just setting the stage for what could be a very active rest of December. So here's what you do right now. Right this second. Make your final preparations. If you haven't already stocked up on food, do it now. If you haven't winterized your home and car, do it today. If you haven't checked on elderly neighbors, do it this afternoon. Time is running out. The Clipper hits Minnesota tonight. The flash freeze hits Virginia tonight. The atmospheric river is already beginning in the Pacific Northwest. These are not future events. They're happening now. Every hour you delay preparation is an hour closer to danger. And in weather like this, danger comes fast. 1 minute you're fine. The next minute you're stuck on ice. Or you're without power in -20-degree cold. Or your basement is flooding from a river that rose 10 feet in 3 hours. Don't be caught off guard. Don't assume someone else will help you. Don't think it won't be that bad. It will be that bad. For some people, it's already that bad. The atmosphere is in chaos mode. 5 life-threatening weather events, all happening in the next 48 hours, and more waiting behind them. But if you're prepared, if you're smart, if you're careful, you'll get through this. Your family will be safe. Your home will be secure. And when this active pattern finally breaks, when winter calms down, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing you handled it right. Stay safe, stay warm, stay prepared, and keep watching. Because this story is far from over. The next chapter could be even more intense, and you need to know what's coming. The weather doesn't care if you're ready or not. It's coming either way. The only choice you have is whether you face it prepared or unprepared. Choose wisely. Choose now. Because in less than 12 hours, the first wave hits. And there's no stopping what's already in motion.